AFIT, what's up? I'd like to introduce our special friends for the OTR Playbook series powered by PUMA Suede. So let's welcome them in.
Can you turn on? There you go. Check, check. Can y'all hear me? We good? Yo. How's everybody feeling today? Everybody feeling good? Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. So first and foremost, my name is Gay P, founder, owner, CEO, all that good stuff of On the Radar Radio. And this is our first episode of the OTR Playbook presented by PUMA. Now, the cool thing about this this new series that we're doing is, and the fact that it's also in person, is we teamed up with PUMA to bring this new series to different schools all across the East Coast on a campus tour, where we will be gifting you the PUMA Suede Classic silhouette. You know what I'm saying? They're all right here. But the main reason that I really wanted to do this with PUMA and why I was so excited to work with them was because I felt like when I was in high school and college, there wasn't a lot of people around to give me the game of the music industry. Everything that I learned was very much on the fly over the last 10 years. So I think that when there's a moment where I can kind of give some free game back and kind of educate y'all on what to expect, what to know, how to build a platform, how to build a career, and also bring some really cool artists along the way with me, then why not? So I'm excited to be here with y'all. I'm going to let each member of my team kind of introduce themselves and what they do at OTR, and yeah, we'll go from there. Go ahead.
Check. Y'all can hear me? Y'all can hear me? You loud? How y'all feeling? Y'all feeling good? All right. I know the school year is winding down, so don't be shy. I want y'all energy. I know y'all a little laid back right now. Finals is coming up, right? Y'all got finals? Okay, cool. But just to introduce myself, I'm JV, artist, producer with On the Radar. Wear a couple hats. A&R admin on the label side, and which that means we handle all like the DSP streaming. So everything that we put out on digital streaming platforms, all the songs that y'all hear, we put them up on streaming services. So I handle that. But also I executive produce. Where Fritz at? Executive produce the producer series that we have on the Radar.
Fritz don't like to talk.
Yeah, Fritz in the cut over there. But yeah, we also have a series where we highlight producers. I know y'all see a lot of the content with the artists that we bring to the platform, but excuse me, we also highlight the producers as well. And yeah, that's a couple of things I'll do. We could get into some more stuff, but yeah, nice to meet y'all for sure. Nice to meet y'all.
Okay, hi everyone. So my name is Shania. At On the Radar, I'm the director of bookings, but I am in college. I go to Baruch. I started as an intern my junior year of college. After about a year, I became Gabe's personal assistant, and now I'm the director of bookings. I have this role since last August, so it's gonna make a year soon. But yeah, I graduate college in like 2 weeks, so I'm kind of
There you go.
But yeah, like I'm literally in y'all footsteps, and kind of like I be in these seats all the time. So I completely understand. Finals coming up. I know firsthand how it is being a college student right now. But yeah, so I have my role as the director of bookings. I really just coordinate and schedule all the artists. Everybody On the Radar is like an A&R. So I have my own artists that I reach out to, book them on the platform, and then I also schedule everybody else's artists. So it's a lot, and I also schedule everybody's releases as well. So yeah. Yes.
Hi everyone, how are you guys today? Good, hope everyone is feeling fine. My name is Toby. I'm the director of partnerships at On the Radar. I've been with the team for about 4 years now. What my role started as is not what it is right now, but that's what happens, I would say, in the music industry. I started off just like Shania, booking talent for artists, and that expanded into me now reaching out to brands and getting us deals with many companies, whether that's across music, fashion, BET, Stars, Cash App, DistroKid, a really extensive list. For me, I did not come into the music industry wanting to do brand partnerships. I actually started off as a journalist. I graduated from Brooklyn College, and I went to school for communication. But one thing that happened during my career path is that you get exposed to so many different roles, and you might not know what you might want to do right away, right? But with a lot of, I would say, internships and mentors, you get firsthand experience in a lot of things, which helps you to ultimately decide what you want to focus on. So my advice to all of you would be try as many things as possible. Do what you love. Try something you don't like. You never know if you do like it. And just enjoy this experience that you guys have now, because it doesn't come again. But yes.
But with that being said, now that everybody's introduced themselves, I'm going to open up the floor to questions from you guys before we bring in our special guest. So any and all, there's no bad questions. Any and all questions you have, we're here to answer them. So go ahead.
What performance for On the Radar do you feel like was like the one that really put y'all on the map?
I guess we could all go around and say that. Obviously in New York, I think the D-Thang one was like the biggest one. Off the rip, right, just because of the height of the Bronx drill era. And then kind of on a more global scale, I think it was when we started kind of dabbling in the UK artists. So like when we had like a Digga D and an AJ Tracy, that kind of put us like more in like the space of like Europe and kind of like starting to gain attention over there. And then of course like the Drake one is the one that kind of took us everywhere, you know, everywhere we go, whether we're in Brazil, whether we're in London, whether we're in Paris, everybody's always referencing that one. But also there have been a lot of other like smaller niche ones that we've done that like may not always hit here at home, but they'll hit in like their like individual markets wherever they're from, whether it's somebody from China or somebody from Germany or Korea or Japan. Like we'll always have somebody from a certain market that'll kind of help us break into that market, and we'll eventually draw more artists from that area to come and perform on OTR.
So did all of you guys always know you wanted to go into the music industry, or did you just kind of find yourself there?
I'll let y'all go first.
I always knew that I wanted to work in entertainment. Like I said, growing up, I loved listening to the radio. My mom would drop me to school every morning and the radio was always playing, right? So hearing people like Wendy Williams and like watching like TV shows with her, I always knew I wanted to do something in the field. And I started off as a journalist, like I said. I did that for a really long time. And being a journalist actually helped open up a lot of other doors for me, because you're working with artist teams, you're hearing their stories, and now you're publishing these things, right? And it was a very good entryway into the music industry, which then opened up other doors. Like, honestly, with Gabe, I didn't just verbally meet him. Like, I had a mentor that I got connected with. And I told her I had an artist in New York, and I wanted him to do stuff. And she was like, oh, do you know Gabe? He has this show called On the Radar. I was like, no, who's that? And she connected me with him, and I happened to bring that artist onto the show. And me and Gabe just had a conversation, and he was like, hey, you do what? Let's connect. And he ended up calling me one day and was like, hey, I have my new studio that's going to be open in a week. Do you want to come and help me start scheduling artists? And I was like, sure. 4 years later, we're still here together, have accomplished so much. So, like I said, it might not be something that you come out of the gate saying that you want to do, but connecting with the right people and just being in the right rooms, you never know what might be your next best move.
I actually was in your same seats. I started a media club in college, upstate, Dana University. And this was something that, you know, for me, I knew I always wanted to be around music, in music, whether it's making it or as an artist or as a producer, right? So I felt like building a studio on my campus was the only way to kind of curate that environment and kind of, you know, give me the opportunity to, you know, explore options outside of the classroom, right? And then through that, I was able to connect with John Nurse. So John Nurse, he's the CEO of our label, OTR Records, right? He also graduated, I don't even know.
A long time ago.
Uncle John, we call him Uncle John, but he graduated, you know, way before me. We connected, and then through that, I was able to start interning with OTR back in like 2022, 2023. The thing with working with OTR, there's kind of no limits to where, and I always credit Gabe because he gives us the creative liberty to kind of explore a lot that we have to offer, right? From producing for artists to creating a series on the radar, and then to learning the business, you know, I was able to kind of see all aspects of music. And I don't think there's any other platform that really gives us that opportunity. And, you know, I always credit, you know, Gabe for that, you know what I'm saying? And for sure. But yeah, to answer that question.
Good answer. Shasha?
I just wanted to answer, and I wanted to say no and yes about wanting to go into music. Honestly, as you all know, college students, you're just looking for an internship. Or I don't know if everyone is, but I was looking for an internship my junior year, and I was just, like, piggyback on what Toby said, I knew entertainment was something that I wanted to get into, so, like, I was applying to, like, maybe Paramount or like BT, like stuff like in that realm. And then one day I just had a thinking, and I was like, wait, on the radar, because again, for one video, I used to love watching that video. So I was like, let me like look into that, and I went on their website, and I did not see no career page. And I said, oh, they don't got a career, like the career button, apply. So eventually I ended up getting referred to. Well, I was referred to.
Can't tell the story.
Okay, yeah.
No, she doesn't.
No. Let's keep it P.
It's not a bad story. No, it's actually really so. Okay. One of my closest friends in the music industry is Cash Cobain, because me and him both came up at the same time. Like, he was on OTR back when it first got out the pandemic, when we were doing interviews again. So me and Cash have always had like a really close relationship. And when Cash texted me, I know it's like serious, because he doesn't text me unless it's like something very important. And one day he texted me, he's like, "Yo, I need you." And I'm like, "All right, like, what's up?" I'm like, "I thought it was like some new music, something like." He's like, "I have someone who wants to intern for you." And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "All right." I'm like, let's see, right? And then he sends me Shania, and then Shania came to the studio, just immediately clicked with everybody, and then she's been with us ever since. So, yeah.
But yeah, just to piggyback on what Gabe is basically saying is like, honestly, don't limit yourself when it comes to applying for internships. You see, applying to OTR was very, very random for me. So keep your options open. Don't just be like, no, I want to just do this. I just want to straight go into BET. Like, it's so many other realms that you could go into. And honestly, keep those networking opportunities open. Me, I'm lucky to have a relationship with somebody who's in the music industry, but not everybody has that. But when you do meet these type of people who you know that you could kind of benefit off, y'all could both benefit from each other, it's good to keep those relationships stable and keep it, healthy.
When I first started, I was trying to do a career in music. I had grown up playing a bunch of instruments. I was a painter. I did like every creative thing under the sun, and I always knew I wanted to do something creative, but I just didn't exactly know what. And I had gone to school at St. John's in Queens for marketing, and so obviously that's business. So was in the business program, and within like the first month of the business program, I had dropped out because I was like, this is not for me. I was doing horrible in all my classes. It was not it. But at St. John's, I had found a radio station on campus called WSJU, which is where I found like my community, found my people. All my friends still to this day. We're all in different parts of the music industry, funny enough. And there's kind of like where I started building my foundation. And eventually, Angie Martinez, who is a legendary hip-hop radio host from New York, she came to my school, and I had grown up driving around the Bronx with my aunt listening to her. And I was like, oh, wow, I would love to intern for her one day. And so she came to my school. She's like, oh, I see something in you. So she's like, okay, come with me to iHeart. Come be my intern at iHeart. And then that was actually it's like 10 years ago in May was when I first started interning for her at iHeart. So at that point, I kind of knew what my path was, but I still wasn't entirely sure. I had done blogging, I had done write-ups, I had ran social media accounts for like Power 105, Angie Breakfast Club for like years. And then I always knew that I kind of wanted to have my own thing that like I owned, that was like not under a bigger umbrella that I could control and have control over. And that's how we started On the Radar. That's like the short version of it. But like then I started OTR because I felt like at the time it was like the height of the SoundCloud era. And when artists would go to platforms, it was like also peak of like clickbait, right? And I always kind of hated that because I kind of hated seeing how like some of the older talent at the time was treating some of the younger artists. And so I felt that like, I'm like, maybe I could create a platform where everybody feels invited. And originally it was just meant for upcoming artists at first. And then over time, as we kept working and we kept growing and we kept making more connections and so on and so forth, it became something so much bigger. It became a platform for upcoming artists from all around the world, for legacy artists to come and perform some of their biggest hit records and kind of give people the sense of nostalgia online too. So we've really been blessed to like all not really entirely know what we want to do, but somehow found our way. And I think that goes for like all of you guys. Like if you guys don't know exactly what you want to do yet, whether you're like a freshman, junior, sophomore, senior, whatever, there's still plenty of time, because On the Radar didn't really take off for me until I was 25, 26, and like even then, like that was like years of me working towards that and not really understanding what I wanted to do yet. So there is no rush on it. Like whatever's meant for you is gonna come as long as you just keep working for that goal. But yeah, thank you. Any other questions? No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, okay. So you built like such a successful brand, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, the sky's the limit. So I was wondering, like, in the next 3 to 5 years, like, what's your, vision? What do you want to scale to?
That's a great question. So right now we actually just like we're finishing production on like our 2 new studios in New York. So it's kind of like all just one big compound now. One of those studios is actually like a full-fledged recording studio, which is going to be like an invite-only type of studio, where we'll have artists be able to come through, record. We'll also work on our own music in there with different artists. Like everybody, like they said, everybody on our team is an A&R, so everybody has their own artists that they work with, and we'd be working on 3-packs, albums, so on and so forth. I'm gonna be working on a couple projects in there, and then our third studio is it's like a multi-purpose room, so it's like it's our new DJ room, so like it's a whole new set just for the DJ sets, which is really dope. It's a live stream room where we'll do like our weekly live streams as well, some other live streams that we're going to be working on with some artists, and then also a podcast room for me to get back to doing interviews, because that's what I really started on. That's what I'm passionate about. So that's all actually going to be starting within like the next couple of weeks. But beyond that, at least where we're at right now is like we're thinking like globally. So like we've been going to different countries. We're in the middle of our Puerto Rico rollout. We did Brazil. We did the UK. We plan to do the Dominican Republic this year too. So when I think about like where On the Radar is in like 3 to 5 years, like you said, I think that like our goal is to, one, continue to build up like one of the craziest music catalogs in history, but also continue to like serve the world and like bring other cultures to people here, and then also just be a platform that builds bridges. I think that's what I'm trying to get at here, is like be able to like show people who are from different walks of life other types of music. Because I feel like when I was growing up, like I would always search for like music from the UK, and then more recently, like last couple years, I got really into like French hip hop, which is like kind of random, but like also like German hip hop because of like Charlie Sloth doing his Fire in the Boot series in Germany, and I didn't know that all this stuff existed. And me becoming a fan of it, I'm like, damn, like how can I also be a vessel that, and how can On the Radar be a vessel that can bring this type of music to other people? Because you never know, like there might be some people in America who listen to some German hip hop for the first time. They're like, wow, this is crazy, and this is better than what we have here. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's really my goal for the next 3 to 5 years, is to continue to expand globally, but also continue to expand our label efforts and continue to build up our catalog, and try to figure out some ways to do more like live events with the DJs, because I feel like especially here in New York, like a lot of the parties that we have here are kind of like not great. And so I think that since we have access to so many different DJs, from house to to like Caribbean DJs, like we could throw some really sick events here like that are on par with Boiler Room. But that's also something that we've been working on that hopefully we'll get there down the line as well too.
Do you guys have any memories of who do you think were some of the most memorable like episodes y'all filmed, or like maybe like freestyles that happened?
Okay, yeah, we could all go through. I think for me, I had mentioned like how Cash introduced me to Shania. The first Cash one was really memorable to me because I was just kind of like such a, that was like kind of like the beginning moment that led to like Sexy Drill blowing up in New York, and that was the one that first kind of, to my knowledge, grabbed like Drake's attention and Frank Ocean's attention on the platform. I would say that one. My homie Chris Patrick, who did Mafiathon with me, and he had that like 6-minute long freestyle Mafiathon. It was like super passionate, and it really like my favorite thing is when we do videos and it changes people's lives. Like I like seeing the impact of our videos in real time and seeing how the content and what we shoot in just this little studio in Brooklyn is able, or even in Kai's Mafiathon mansion, where they're not expecting to get anything out of it except for some new eyes on them, but it really changes their lives, and it allows like people like Nas or Kendrick or Drake or Frank Ocean to really start to tap into their music and also provide them with bigger opportunities that'll help forward their careers, and do that. Is just like I just like seeing my homies win. So those are a couple for me.
So we just did an artist named I Wayne, Caribbean artist, big reggae artist, really a classic, legendary act from VP Records, Jamaica. And he actually recorded on one of my beats that I produced. So just look forward to that. It's gonna be a big one. But outside of that, just him coming into the studio so humbly, like that Rastafarian energy, you could really feel it like on the walk-in. And I was kind of humbled and pulled back by his performance, because typically when we have artists come in, like we literally have a whole studio set up, right? So we have a whole vocal chain. He didn't use none of that. I'm talking about just raw, natural vocals. And it kind of humbled me as an artist to see like, this is like true artistry. We have so many artists come through, but of course, like it's just levels. So that's kind of one of the most memorable ones as of recently.
Yeah, him and Buju.
Yeah, Buju
was crazy.
God, like, so many legendary acts. So I could talk about that, yeah.
As for me, I will probably say my first memorable one was what I kind of coordinated this booking with the Kai Sadet, and really, Davis. When he came, I am Davis, the streamer. When he came and he brought the whole AMP crew, that was crazy to me. Like honestly, when I walked out the studio, when I was on the phone with my friend and I was talking to her about it because it was a crazy booking for me, I literally started like shedding tears. I'm like, bro, I literally can't believe I just did that. Especially being a fan, like, it's like when I'm working here and I meet people who I listen to or like I watch, it's like it's so crazy. It's like wow, I was literally just watching an AMP video yesterday and now they're in my face. But besides that, I would probably say a good one meeting was who? I was I was gonna say that. That's so funny. But I try to cool myself. But seeing A Boogie was a major one for me too as well because I love A Boogie. But yeah, those are my top two.
She's not allowed to come to A Boogie shoots anymore.
Stop it.
Wayne.
Honestly, when people ask me this question, I hate answering it because I really don't know, honestly, because it's been so many. But if I say one that was very memorable for me, it probably was during our first partnership with PUMA when we were in Philly. And there's this artist by the name of Skrilla. He came on the platform and he had like a mask on. It was like a reptile or alligator mask. And he did this freestyle. And in the moment, I don't know about everybody else, but I was looking at him like, what's the matter with this dude? Like, why does he have on this mask? Like, why is he
They're
doing
like,
this?
Gabe, why did you do this?
Literally. And we dropped the video, and I swear that was one of the craziest for Philly. Like, it went so viral. Like, that was like almost like the launch of everybody, like sort of like catching on to the Skrilla wave. So I think like being a part of that just showed me like, wow, like the platform just really holds so much weight because you just never know what someone else likes. Like, it's so many different artists that you're seeing every day from different regions, and just knowing that there were millions of people around the world who seen this man with this alligator reptile mask, and they was
T-Rex
all like,
mask.
"This is hard." Like, I was like, "Wow."
Really love music, like, you know, since birth. I just want to know, like, what kind of got y'all in music, and like, what's an artist that kind of like sparked that passion?
Talk about Michael Jackson. Who watched the Michael movie? I know all of y'all watched it. Y'all watched it or not?
Yeah.
She clapping in the back. She liked it.
You saw
It was
what?
okay.
It was okay? They got to do the part two. I'm not going to lie. They definitely got to do part two. But yeah, Michael, I'm not going to lie. He, like, watching that movie, and I just went with my girl what was it, Saturday? So watching that really, like, captured my whole childhood. Because it's like I grew up on all of these songs. Just watching, you know, just his aura. It was just different. So, yeah, Michael, honestly, that was my inspiration. And it still is, so.
Y'all got any?
I mean, I'm a huge Nicki Minaj fan, and honestly, I know the controversy she is in right now, but I separate myself from all those stuff that's going on right now. I just know her from what I grew up on, and I love Nicki. So, yeah, that's who I say will play a part in, like, my love for music.
I think for me, the neighborhood I grew up in was like very interesting because I grew up in like a little neighborhood. Well, I grew up in Queens, but then we moved to LA, and then where I moved to in LA, it was my family who was Puerto Rican, but then my neighbors to the right of me were Jamaican, and the left of me were Haitian, and behind me were like Nigerian, and it was like what was cool about it is like we grew up in such like I was able to grow up with so many different friends that like. I always grew up with this diverse music taste, which is why when like we bring like the Boujous and the I-Wings to the show, like I have so much appreciation for it. But I think growing up, like for me, being in a traditional Puerto Rican household, funny enough, my first music memory is like Ricky Martin on TV, which I know is so random, but I just remember sitting in the living room with my mom watching Ricky Martin on like PBS doing a performance, which is why also watching the Super Bowl with my mom and seeing Ricky Martin come out with Bad Bunny was like a very crazy experience, but also beautiful at the same time, just like a full circle. But I'll say that, and it was funny, and I'll give you guys like kind of like a little teaser, something that we have coming out next month. We shot with Wyclef Jean the other night, and me and Wyclef was like, he did a classic, he did Maria Maria, and I was like, wow, like this is a song that my mom's been playing since I was a kid, and like literally the first show I ever went to as a kid growing up, like first concert I ever went to was Carlos Santana. If you don't know who Carlos Santana is, legendary guitar player, legendary artist, and I think that like being around all of them, and then listening to them as a kid, like the Carlos Santanas, the Celia Cruz, the Ricky Martins, and then of course like all of my neighbors kind of putting me onto music from their cultures, like what really inspired me to like get into music, and then eventually learn how to play guitar and a bunch of other instruments as well too. There you go. And with that being said, can we bring my brother Bray Swag in, and can we make some noise for him one time real quick? Big Queens, make some noise. There you go. What's up, bro? Long time no see. First and foremost, I always appreciate you for showing love and for being one of the first ones, man.
Of course, man. My brother, man.
But I'm excited to sit down here with you today, man. You know, I think doing something like this and getting to speak to the kids and getting to let them know a little bit of your story is extremely important. And something that you mentioned even in that documentary trailer about missing birthdays, long nights, all these things, I think that's something that we're not prepared for when it comes to this music industry, right? So for you, when you started blowing up and when things started moving, you really had to lock in and focus up and take this seriously, take the music seriously. Speak a little bit more to those sacrifices that you had to make personally and with your family and things like that.
So, of course, you're not ready for it, you know, but it's something that you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand it. A lot of your family, like, they really don't get it, you know. And one example is, like, last year, my mom, she was fighting breast cancer. And I couldn't be there for her, because I had to go get the money, you know. I had to make sure I could pay the bills because she lost her job. She didn't have a job anymore, and she was fighting for her life. So that was one thing that was, like, really, really, really crazy. But she understood, you know, and this is, like, sad kind of, like, you know.
Yeah, but this is real. This is. I think this is what, you know, what we need, what people need to know. You know what I'm trying to say? Like this is like the real side of, this is the real life part of doing this music.
Nah, definitely over. So that was, like, a crazy thing for me because I really, really, really wanted to be there. I tried to go to as much doctor's appointments as I could.
Yeah.
And one time I just broke down because I just felt like crap, you know, because I really couldn't be there for real. But that's just one example of just working hard and sacrificing and having to be here and not able to be with your family when they really need you the most, you know?
Right. So, you know, with the album Damaged Thoughts that came out last year, right, a lot of it is very intentional. You know, you move very intentional with that project and everything that you did leading up until that point. For you, and even open up in the music and opening up with things like this about your mom, when do you feel like it is the right time for you to open up about, you know, your mom, your pops, like everything that you're going on in your life in the music? Is it hard for you sometimes to, even if you make those records, to put it out into the world? Like, what is kind of like your process in that respect?
I feel like it's not hard because I feel like that's how I make music, off of my emotions or what I'm going through. Like, I can't make a song if I'm not going through something kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
That's like my therapy. So whenever I feel like I'm sad or anything like that, I just go record. You feel me?
Right. Do you ever hesitate to put music that is vulnerable of that nature out?
I actually don't. No, but some people are like,
Yeah.
kind of like scared of that. I don't know why. I always tell them, I feel like that's when it's the best, when people can feel it, because you never know what other people are going through, you know?
Right. And even, you know, growing up in Queens, man, like, obviously it's different, right? And you had to grow up very quickly at a very young age. You had to become the man of the house at a very young age. What do you feel like were like some of the mindsets or the lessons that you learned growing up that kind of showed you how to move today, and also in a way kind of prepare you for the ins and outs that of the, you know, the crazy things that we be having to deal with in the music industry too?
I feel like, for me, I was a man in the house at a young age. So just that grind and the hustle, just no matter what it is, no matter what you're going through, you can't let nothing stop you from grinding and going to get it, no matter what, you know? So I feel like that.
Right. And so you had your first headline tour, right? Which, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you,
You know
bro.
what I'm saying? It looked amazing. I saw you
lit.
brought Chow along too. It looked incredible. You know, that was your first ever headline tour and first ever kind of like going back to back dates with shows like that. What were some of the things that you kind of had took away from that? Because that was also a very new experience, something you hadn't done before. You've done your shows in New York and in other markets like here and there, but that was like the first time it was consistently happening on a weekly basis. So what did you kind of take away from that tour, and like what did you kind of learn, and maybe what would you do better the next time? Like, what do you think? How do you think you could improve?
I feel like I learned certain songs that we think are like bigger and that we would want to perform. Mm-hmm. You know, the fans, they really dive into you and they really know you and they really know all the music. They want to hear like old songs You know, they want to dive into songs that you wouldn't even think that they would want. You know, so I would see like one show, I would have a set list, but then I notice like, okay, they're not super turned to this song. So the next time I'll do another song, just trying it out. It's just a lot of different things you're learning. But I feel like that's the number one thing. You feel me? Like just certain songs you would think that they would want to hear, they want to hear others. It's like weird.
I think it depends on like the market too, because you know New York they want to hear like For Sure, and they want there's like a bunch of other records, but then like you go to like Connecticut or maybe even go down south and they're like nah, they want some more your or Midwest, like the more like the
Yeah, I
more
feel like
Midwest side beat records that you got too.
wherever you are is
Yeah.
different. It's like changes definitely.
So, you know, we have some like obviously aspiring artists in the room. What, you know, with everything that you've gone through these last couple of years, well, I mean, not even these last couple of years, man, because you've really been in this for a long time and you've been through a lot of ups and downs as you and I have spoken about. What do you feel like for like a young artist from like 18 to like 21, what would be like your biggest advice having gone through what you've gone through in this music industry?
The number one thing, you need a lawyer. You need a good lawyer. You need a good lawyer because it could get real tricky, and business is business. So that's the first thing I would say. Make sure you get a lawyer. That's like the main thing.
Yeah.
And what's another thing I could say? Stay consistent because there's so many artists out. Like it's a new artist every day, you know. So you gotta just stay on the scene. You gotta stay visible. You gotta stay in the market. So I feel like, and for myself, I feel like once I started staying consistent, it was like the best thing that ever happened to me. So
right, I think we all saw it like in 2024 when you were just on it. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Back to back, and then For Sure, tripping on your own solo project.
Back to back. You gotta stay consistent. So definitely a lawyer and consistency.
I like that. So I'm gonna open up the floor to questions again. If anybody has any questions for Bay, myself, or anything, let us know. Anybody?
It's a question for Bay.
Go
I
ahead.
guess I would say, like, what is something that you do to, like, set yourself apart in the music industry? And, like, how did you kind of find your place and, like, what you really wanted to put out into the world?
It's weird because we might want to talk about something and we'll drop something and think this is it. And that might not be it. We got to let the people decide, I feel like. So, yeah, to answer that question, you just got to let the people decide, honestly.
I also always think to add to that, right? Just from like someone who works with artists, know like even when I talk to Bay about this, like Bay said, he could be like, "This is my favorite record. I'm gonna put this out," and then he puts it out, and it doesn't do what he wants it to do. And like I feel like again, this is a conversation we've had, but it's like sometimes an artist will put out a record that they're like, "Nah, I'm not really into this," but I'm gonna throw it out there just in case, and it becomes a bigger song.
And that's it's weird. It's super weird, super weird. But yeah,
like if I had $1 for every time an artist like had a enormous song, they're like, I hate that song.
Yeah, that's normally how it is. Like it's like a song you hate, and that'll be the biggest song in your career ever.
Oh, what is like? I don't know if it's too personal, but like, what is the moment that you like know you clicked with your audience? Like, yeah.
That's a great question. I had did an event one time, me and Cash actually, and it was a lot of kids that kind of came up the way we did, you know? And, like, I grew up, my father's incarcerated, and just seeing all these kids just coming up and just going through the same thing, it was just like, just being able to talk to them and letting them know that it's possible and you could do it just like I did, you know? So I feel like that was like a moment for me. Definitely.
This is for both of you guys. What do you guys think are some things you overlooked before getting into the entertainment industry?
You answer first.
Me? I think and I think Bay correlates to this too. Like when you first start putting out music, there's so many different things that you have to like learn about. And like I mentioned, like I think at the beginning of this is that obviously neither of us really went to school for music. It just kind of happened for us, right? And aside from the lawyers, like of course, like reading the contracts over, learning the difference between masters and publishing, and also making sure that you have someone administering your pub to collect like your royalties on all that, I think is very important. And I also kind of wish that like I knew coming into the industry like not everybody's your friend.
Definitely. There you go. Business.
Business, yeah. Like
business is business, man.
business is business, but like the people who you are friends with and like the people who have been with you since the beginning, definitely appreciate them for being there with you from the beginning because they saw you when you didn't have anything.
Right.
Like I said, they saw me when I had like 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I met Bay at a pretty rough point in his music career too, and he was going through a lot. And me and him spoke about that. So I think that's why like me and Bay have like this type of relationship because we both saw each other during like difficult times in our lives when we're trying to break out of certain molds. But definitely like in music industry wise, like not everybody is your friend, but the people who are your friends and who are riding for you and who are there for you to support you, and who are part of your team too. Like having a team is so important. Yeah.
You answered it.
My bad.
No, not even
My
trying
fault.
to troll. You said it.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. My G. Yeah.
What's your biggest motivator?
My mom and my dad. Just see, I'm weird. Like I get motivated by like going through trauma and stuff. Like I'm like just going through what I went through. Just that motivates me. Like my dad knowing that I gotta pay for all the lawyers and knowing that I have to do it. Like this has to work, There's no plan. This is it. This is gonna work. For sure.
I was just curious.
I'm
What
gonna
are
get through all
some
them.
of the most like interesting or innovative artists that are like right now you're like keeping an eye on?
Oh man, damn! I gotta think about that. There's a couple artists in PR that I really like that they were making like kind of like early 2000s style like Gucci, like Atlanta trap music. Yeah, and it sounds like it's very like jarring at first because like you're not really used to like hearing a Latin artist rap like this or get on these type of beats. But I was really into them. There's like Tommy Blanco is one of them. Vehalachi and Fanta Rosario is another one. Those three right now are kind of like the ones I've really been looking at. I will say also like he's not considered a new artist, but on some New York. On a New York tip, like I really like what like Fergie Baby has been doing for Harlem.
Yeah.
I think like the one thing, especially in New York, like everybody loves to say, oh, like boom bap is dead, or like they might hate on Bay and Cash and the Slizzies because of the sexy drill way. But I think what's important to realize, especially here in New York, is that the diversity of it. And just like how where hip hop is right now, where there's so many different subgenres of hip hop, that everything can exist all at one time. So like what Fergie Baby is doing on like and Lord Sco and all of them are doing on like the Uptown like rap tip and kind of making this boom bap music but making it feel like fresh. I'm really into. And then let me see, what else am I doing? R2R Mo also from Harlem is like one of my favorite artists right now. 2300 from 2300. What's he from? Long Island, Queen? I don't know. But he makes incredible beats. And yeah, that's definitely
how do you pick your community and like the people you surround yourself with?
like your circle.
And like how do you uphold those relationships, especially when you work so hard and you are like doing so much all the time?
You gotta just keep your day ones with you. Your day ones, people that been with you from the beginning, that really care about you. Really call you and check on your mental. And making sure you're okay. So I feel like that's the main thing. You gotta have your real friends with you, kind of like what you said earlier. The people that was with you in the beginning, because they're really there for you. So yeah.
Keep the people who call you to ask you how you're doing before they ask you for what they need.
Exactly.
For sure. Yep. Yeah. One more time for Bass Flag.